Hi everyone. So I was recently at a maker fair and a few people asked me how they would go about designing a part and 3D printing it. So I thought I would do a really quick tutorial. Lately I've been looking for a new wallet and I thought what better thing to do than print one. So here we go. We're going to use Fusion 360 for this along with Simplify 3D and Octoprint to actually connect to the printer. So in Fusion, we're going to go and create a new sketch, pick a plane. I always tend to pick the top plane. Basically, we're going to do a two-part flat plate with a few little whiz-bang designs on it and print those out on the printer. So we're basically going to make a rectangle. I particularly like the center rectangle for this particular part. Let's make one. We need to make it and about the size of a credit card, because that's basically what a wallet is these days. So I draw my center point rectangle, I do some dimensions, don't actually care what they are for now, just do D for dimension, enter something, D for dimension, pick the side, and just have some figure in there. Now I measured some credit cards earlier and I know that I want them to be about 60 millimeters and about 88 millimeters. Now, I use millimeters. I live in the US, but I use millimeters. Isn't that confusing? Sometimes it's not. I also do stuff in inches, but when I'm doing stuff for myself, I almost always use millimeters. You can do this in inches, it doesn't really matter. You just have to convert it. Handy conversion factor. 25.4 millimeters equals 1 inch. You'll see some of that later on. Okay, so we've got a basic shape of a credit card. Now, my idea is to have two plates with some little recessed sections and glue some elastic in there to make a kind of expandable wallet. So we'll also need to do another rectangle, and I'm just going to put that anywhere for the time being and show you some constraints that we're going to do. So let's draw this again and do escape to get out of that. D for dimension. Need a dimension on that side. Doesn't matter what it is for now. And then a dimension on that side. Doesn't matter what that is for now. Now, these are going to go here, here, and here. And then have little pieces of elastic coming out of each of them and glue to the top. That'll make more sense later. So let's dimension that. Now, oh, we already did that. Elastic tends to come in standard sizes, and one of the standard sizes is 1 inch. And a quick quiz, 1 inch equals 25.4 millimeters. So we want that to be 25.4 millimeters wide. And let's make it, say, 6 millimeters high for now. That'll do. Okay, so now this is in the wrong place, so we need to move it. I like to do this by adding points, and there's a few different ways to do it, but we go and add a point, and then Fusion gives us these handy points. So that's the midpoint of that one, and then another midpoint of that one. The little triangle means it's a midpoint. Now I can go over here and say, make these coincident. So I want this point and this point to be in the same place. So let's move that to there. It's gone black because this is now fully constrained. So if I try and drag, this and move it, it'll say, nope, I know it's 6 millimeters high and 25.4 millimeters wide, and I know that these 2 points are always going to be coincident, in other words, joined together. So that's great, I can't accidentally drag anything. Let's do R for rectangle again. We're going to do another one over here. And then D for dimension, ding, like that. We could make these parameters, but in this case I'm just going to say, I'm going to pick that, D4, and this one is going to be, this one is going to be the same as this dimension. So this is saying this is a function, it's getting the dimension from here, and this one's a function that's getting the dimension from here. Let me put my points on here again. Point. Coincident points. This point is coincident to this. And let's do our last rectangle over here. Same idea, D for dimension. D for dimension. Let's hit enter for now. And pick this one, make this the same as this. Make this, double click the same as this. Make this the same as this. And then add a point here. And another point here. And then so that they are coincident. Okay, so we've got our points there. If I decided that I wanted to use 2-inch webbing, 2-inch elastic instead, I could make this 50.8 millimeters, and all of these would change. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, that's kind of the introduction to parametric model design. You can make better parameters than that, but we'll leave it at that for now. So we make that 25.4 wide. Okay, so we've got the basic structure going on here. Now all our cards are going to get put in through this side of the wallet, and so it's nice to have some way to push them out. A lot of these wallets have a little thumb hole just over here. So let's add one of those. Now we could just add a circle, but I think what would be nice is to add one of these conic curves. And I don't remember how they work. So one handy thing in Fusion is that if you just hover your mouse like that, you can see what the command does. So what we want to know is select the start point, the end point, and then the top of the vertex. Use the guidelines to create a tangency constraint. Specify the row value. Okay, so what we want to do is do a start point, an end point, and then I'm going to try and make sure that this is concentric to that. And then this is our row value. We want it to be kind of like that. Okay, let's just add a dimension in here and make sure that that's, say, 5 millimeters away, and then let's add a dimension in here and say that that should be, I measured my thumb earlier, it's about 25 millimeters. Now, I guess what we could do is make this in the center by doing a point here, doing a dimension between here and here. Right, and we could say that that is that divided by 2. So we know that's in the center. Do a line from here. This is probably, people are going to be shouting at the screen right now. Because you want that to be 90 degrees. So we've drawn a line. If you ever want to draw a line and pick it, press X, you get a construction line. And now we want to say that this point is coincident to that line. There we go, and that should make that symmetrical. Seems like a fairly convoluted way of doing that, but okay. Alright, so now we have a basic shape for our plate. We can say stop sketch. We get to start doing some fun stuff. E for extrude. And let's grab this and say make it 3 millimeters. And now we look here, we've got a 3 millimeter plate extruded. Fusion turns off the sketches when we do that, but we also want to make sure that we extrude these little tabs. So we pick these, and we just make those, say, 2 millimeters. Okay, look at it from the top. So we've got some recessed tabs here. We've got a slot cut out over here for our thumb. And we could just print that like that, but we had some very sharp, nasty edges on there that wouldn't look very nice. So let's do F for fillet. Go back into our little home view here. Pick these 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. I like to do this by looking at it from the top. there's no real number that you want to use here. You just want to make this look round. But I do like to pick a number that's kind of even, right? So 3.5 millimeters for that. So that looks better. But let's make it even nicer and say this face is going to be the inside of the wallet. So if I hold Shift on a Mac, I use 2 fingers, I can scroll around. So this is the bottom side of the wallet. You can also use the little thing here. And if we do F for fillet again, we can pick this and this, these 2 sides, and we can roll this over. So we grab the arrow, and we just probably want to do maybe 1 millimeter. Okay, looks good. Now, we want to do some fancy thing on the bottom, right? That would be a wallet. You could print the 2 sides, join them together. Make it our own though. So at this point I'm going to do a sketch, create a new sketch, pick this face, and I particularly like rockets. So let's draw a rocket. I'm going to find that easier to do if I do it this way around. What I'm going to do first is project. I'm going to pick that body. And I'm going to say, okay. And I'm going to turn the bodies off. All right, so that just brought the outline in for me. And then I'm going to do alpha line. Put a center line in here. Escape. Pick the line. Say X again. And then we're going to draw some stuff and do a little bit of mirroring at the end. Okay. So let's do maybe an ellipse. And again, we can go ellipse and say, select the center point of the ellipse, set the second point to define the first axis, and the third point to define the point on the ellipse. So there's the center. There's the axis, and then let's make that. So that's going to be the body of our rocket. Nice. And then what do we need on a rocket? We need some windows. So let's make that one and make that, say, 7 millimeters. C for circle, and just put these along the center line. Make that one 9 millimeters. C for circle, put this on the center line, and we'll make this one 11 millimeters. Okay, and then what else does a rocket need? L for line. We're going to do a little point on the top, like that. And then alpha line, we're going to cut the bottom off so that it can have looks more like it has something sticking out. So do alpha line and then T for trim. And you pull these out. It's giving me some warnings because I've removed some constraints, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. And then let's do a 3-point arc. Right, select a start point, an end point, and then a point on the arc. So we're going to do a start point, an end point, and a point on the arc. All right, and we'll do that again. The other way we can do this is to 2-finger click on a Mac, repeat 3-point arc, the start point, the end point, point on the arc, and then maybe just some little line across here. So that's a pretty good looking rocket. You'll notice this is not black because it's not constrained. That's okay, I don't really mind in this case. Not really necessary. Okay, we're going to mirror some of these parts. Let's take this part, and this part, and pick a mirror line, which is going to be our construction line that we put in earlier. And there we go, we got a rocket. Now, what we want to do is basically cut this into our body, and then we're going to use a technique that I learned recently to fill it and make it stand out. So to do that, we need some little kind of channel. To do that, we use the offset command. So O, offset. We'll take this, and we just want to offset that minus 0.5 millimeter. Okay, and then we want to take Now, when we've done that, it just extends all these lines. So we do T for trim, because we don't want these little pieces that stick out there.
Okay, more probably. Zoom out. Zoom back in here. See there. T for trim. Get rid of that. Ooh. Oh. I'm E for no extrude.
Sketch. Extend. We need this little line here to extend all the way through. Okay.
Some of you are probably sharing the screen saying, why didn't you do the offset and then do the mirror? And we could have done that. It would have been quicker. Okay, sketch, extend. There we go.
Okay. Stop sketch. Let's turn all of this back on, or turn the bodies back on at least. Turn the sketches back on. Zoom out a little. Now, this sketch has been drawn on top of this body, as you can see here. So what we're going to do is E for extrude. I'm going to pick all of these inside faces, all of these little lines.
Like that. And that one. And not that one. That one. You pick the wrong one, just click it again. Unselected. 6 selected. Unfortunately, because I put that line up. There's a line in there that got projected. Very end. Okay, and then we just need a little piece at the top here.
One more. I think that's everything. Okay, so what we want to do here is do a cut. I'm going to go that way. And we want to cut by 0.5 millimeter. Now, turn the sketches off. You should see that we've just cut a little groove all the way around here. Okay, great. Looks good to me. Okay, let's take our body, save it as an STL. Medium refinement is fine, binary is fine. Let's call that rocket wallet demo and save that. Jump over to Simplify 3D. Already got this set up, that's a whole video in itself. We'll pick rocket wallet demo. The most useful command I found in Simplify 3D. Command L, pick that surface, and it puts that down. Now we want the rocket to be on the bottom, because these little tabs in here, these little slots, we're going to need to be sticking out. We need 2 of these to make a wallet. D for duplicate, 1 copy, center and arrange, pick just one of them, and then in the mesh we want to mirror it. Now I always get this the wrong way around. I think I want to mirror it in the Y. Yep. To me it looks like I should be mirroring in X, but anyway. So that way we have 2 halves that we're going to stick together. I know I've already got my process settings set up. It's just the type of filament, how thick the width is going to be, stuff like that. Save these toolpaths to disk. And a file I'm thinking called a folder that I have called G-code. I save that. I come over here, say upload rocket wallet demo, and now we start to print.